Hi all, I hope that you hear me well. I think so. I see faces looking at here. Um, Welcome in this talk. I would like to start this talk in a way that you're probably not expecting. I would like to ask you who in this room already bought some chocolates? Nobody? I see hands going up. If you didn't yet, I would definitely recommend you to go and buy some chocolate. And you're going to understand why I say you that. First of all, because we're in Belgium, but also because this is typically an industry in which traceability is a must. All right, we need to make sure that the cocoa beans are ecologically harvested. We also need to make sure that human rights are respected. So it's something very important and something that we want to be able to trace as well. Okay, so today I'm going to speak to you about the how we unlock new levels of traceability in warehouse management in Odoo 18. All right, I'm Chloe van den Hoven, and I'll be your host for this talk today. Like you already know at this point, you see that there is a QR code over there. I'll give you some chance to scan it, but you'll be able to scan it at the end as well to ask your questions. All right, so let's begin. What's on the agenda? First of all, I'm gonna introduce you to the improvements. Then, of course, I know that you're not going to believe me just by showing you some slides, so we're going to deep dive into Odoo so that I can show you how it works. And then finally, a little conclusion on all of that. All right? So what are the three main improvements on Odoo 18? First of all, as you might know, traceability is pretty heavy on operations. So you have to scan everything, there is a risk of errors, you need to make sure that you're moving the right lot to the right location, and so on. So as you know, we want to make your life easier, so the usability has been improved in general. I'll show you a bit better what exactly changed in Odoo 18 just after. Then, let's be honest, you asked it over the years, over and over again, and we were the same as consultants here at Odoo, and we finally have it in Odoo 18. We now have valuation by lot or serial number. I see some faces, heavy faces. Let's see how it works afterwards either. And then the third one, there is now continuous intercompany traceability. So in Odoo 17, the record was still copied. Now you will be able to see that there is a full traceability in a multi-company environment. All right? You know that I asked you about chocolate. You're going to understand why. Let me introduce you to Gabriel Ganesh. He's the CEO of two companies, the Cocoa Craft company, who is a chocolate manufacturer, and Odoo, who is selling chocolate from Cocoa Craft, but also other companies. But in this case, what interested is that it's selling chocolate from Cocoa Craft. All right? And he came up to me and told me that he currently has problems to have a full traceability in his business. And so he asked me if Odoo could be a solution for him. All right? So he explained a bit better his logistic flow, so we're going to go over it together. First of all, we have suppliers, different suppliers that actually provide us with the different ingredients that we need to to produce our chocolate bar. Cocoa beans, milk powder, and sugar. All right? Thanks to these ingredients, we'll be able to produce our Silk chocolate bar within the Cocoa Craft company. Then afterwards, we'll send it out. We will sell it out, actually, to Odoo. That will itself sell this Silk chocolate bar to the final customers. All right, so keep that in mind, because that's also the flow that we're going to do into Odoo. Like I promised you, it's demo time. Let's go to Odoo and see how we would do this in Odoo 18. So we're currently in the Cocoa Craft company, so the company in which we're producing the Silk chocolate bar. As we're producing, I'm going to go and open my manufacturing order. You see here, my final product that I will produce is the Silk choc. It's produced out of 3 different ingredients, and now we will go and see if I have those ingredients in stock, because I need all of the ingredients to be able to produce it. Thanks to this overview, we see that we have our cocoa beans in stock. We also have our milk powder in stock, but we still need our sugar, all right? As everything is well integrated, I just need to click on the little graph over here, and I will see that there is effectively a purchase order 4, that's there for me to be received today, of course. We see that we bought a bit more than what we needed, but at least we will have what we need to be able to produce it. So I'm going to click on this purchase order. This purchase order has been confirmed already, all right? And I can receive those products in stock. What you need to imagine now, because we have 120 kilos of sugar, but we have 6 bags in front of us, okay? So you can imagine the 6 bags of sugar over there. Something that we didn't have in Odoo 17 is the fact that we can now generate not only serials, but also lots, all right? So let me click on that little button. Let me say that I'm gonna create a first lot number. So it's my lot, for example, the date of today, all right, and a little one. I have 6 bags of 20 kilos, okay? So the quantity per lot is 20 kilos. I'm going to generate this, and very fast, I have my 6 lots over here, all right? So that makes you save time. Let me save this and actually validate it and take this in stock, all right? As Odoo is well done, we don't have to go back to the main page. We can just go back to our MO overview and check if everything's fine now. And effectively, everything's available for us to produce it. Let me go to the manufacturing order and wait. Why is that available in orange? Well, that's because I still have to pick those. So what Gabriel Ganache was explaining to me is that one person actually picks everything out of the warehouse, brings it to the production location, and another person actually produces it. All right? So we need, for the person that picks everything in the warehouse, to know what should be picked. So this is this transfer that we see here. All right? And what I will do is I will do this with the barcode. So let's now imagine that the person working in the warehouse goes to the barcode application, opens the operations, and sees that he needs to pick some components. He will click on the pick components, and will be able to scan the different ingredients that we need. I will just use something over here that will allow me to copy my barcodes. So this is my sugar, for example, and I will scan it. As the scanners are used by the ones that actually have a talk about scanners today. I'm not the one that has them over here, but I will simulate a scanning. So here I'm scanning the sugar, so I see that I have my sugar. I will also take everything that I need out of my stock, all right? I'll do the same for the milk powder. So let me go for the milk powder, then I'll be able to scan. That's a little tool that allows you to scan, very handy for demos if you're interested. Then I will also take that. And for my cocoa beans, it's a little bit different. Because if I go and check my cocoa beans out, I see that I have cocoa beans that have different lot numbers. In Odoo 18, you'll be able to also activate the properties. So I have 2 different properties on my cocoa beans, the country of origin, but also the labels. Okay, so I told you that it's very important to know if it's fair trading, bio-farming, and so on. So we see that all our lots have the different labels, and they're okay. But I also see that I have different countries of origins. You need to understand that the beans have a different taste. So I prefer to take the ones from the Ivory Coast to produce my silk chocolate bar, because otherwise, if I take the ones from Ecuador, I need to adapt a little bit my recipe to make to keep the same taste of final product. So in this case, I don't want to use the EB lot, the one from Ecuador, but I would like to use the one from the Ivory Coast. So that's also what I'm going to select. I'm going to select the one from the Ivory Coast and say that I'm going to take them all and confirm this. All right? So over here, you can see that for my cocoa beans, I took the lot from the Ivory Coast over here. And I'll be able to validate that. All right? Then let me go back, because at some point we will need to produce our different our silk chocolate bar. So I will go back to my manufacturing order. I'll go to operations, manufacturing order, and now we're pretty happy because it's finally available for us to produce. As it's traced by a lot number, I will have to add a lot number. And I also know what I picked. So I know that my beer origin is from the Ivory Coast. I can actually add this on my lot number. I have the percentage of cocoa. As I told you, it can vary a little bit based on which bean origin it is. And then finally, I can also add that in this case, fair trading and bio-farming is fine. So I have all this information on my lot number. Keep that in mind, because we're going to see that we will keep this information over the flows. I can save that, and I can finally produce my chocolate bar. So 115 units in this case. I'm going to produce them all, and now I'm done in my Cocoa Craft company. Let's go and check a little bit what happened on the Odoo side. So on the one that's reselling the chocolate. I go to Odoo. I'm going to go to the sales application and see if everything has been sold. Effectively, we're selling out 15 units to Emily van de Walle, but we don't have them in stock at the moment. Let's go and check a bit further what has happened in our inventory. In our inventory, we have a delivery order. That's the delivery order for Emily van de Walle. But we also have the receipt. Okay, so this receipt is actually for 115 units. That's exactly what we produced, right? And those are coming from Cocoa Craft, so from our other company. On the other side, on the Cocoa Craft side, if I go back, I will be able to see that I also have a delivery order ready. Let's go to that delivery order. And over here, we'll see that the lot number that I produced just before is reserved for to be sent out to Odoo. All right? Keep that lot number in mind, because once I validate this, I want to say magic will happen, but it's not magic. You know that people worked for that. On the Odoo side, you'll be able, let me just double check, yeah, that you'll see that that same serial number is actually taken over, all right? So no need to copy-paste anymore to do weird things. It's already there. So we know what we expect. We know what has been sent out in one company. We know what arrives in the other one. We can validate this as well. And we'll finally be able to send it out to Emily van de Walle. So she will get her 15 chocolate bars. I will not create the invoice. I will deliver it. Let's be kind and give it to her first. So now we validated the delivery to Emily van de Walle. Let me just copy-paste that number. You'll understand why. The lot number in this case. I'm going to copy-paste it. And I'm going to show you something. If I now activate both companies, all right, don't do that normally, but just do that for reporting purposes. Otherwise, you might get errors. You will see that I can now scan the serial number. So that's also pretty cool. If I do this and send, paf, I have all the information about what I was doing, and you see that my properties are still on there. So I still have the information on bean origin, the percentage, and so on. What's even cooler is the traceability report. So you remember that I actually delivered 15 quantities to Emily van de Walle. There it is, all right? So we're going to go back now. If I go back to my traceability report, I see that I received 115 units from Cocoa Craft in Odoo. I can also see that on the Cocoa Craft side, 115 units have been sent out to Odoo, right? I can even continue. I know that that 115 units have been produced altogether with those 3 ingredients. Those 3 ingredients have been picked. Do you remember that we did that with the barcode scanner? And we can even see the reception on the Cocoa Craft side of all of those ingredients. So we now have a full traceability. Compared to 17, where we had 2 records with the same name, so we were kind of tricking you, now you have actually a full traceability, and you can go back to the reception of the ingredients until the delivery of the final product, even in a multi-company environment. All right? Something else that I promised you was the valuation by lot. There is another talk that goes way further on that, but let me show you that a little bit. I'm just going to go back only to Cocoa Craft. I'm going to show you, if I go to the product and my cocoa beans, I decided to value those by lot or serial number. All right? So my cocoa beans in this case are valued by lot because my traceability is by lot. I can go to my reporting. I can go to my valuation. I will group this by product. I will then group it by lot or serial number. All right. So you have this over here. And I'll be able to open this like this. So what I've heard now is that the beans coming from Ecuador, there was a complete change in price for the beans coming from Ecuador. So I want to also see that in my stock and value my beans at the right price, all right, at the right cost. So over here you see that my unit value was 3 euros, that I had 20 units in stock, so that my total value is 60, all right? Now I can per lot, and that's something that you couldn't do previously, click on the little plus, say in my case, I want to devalue it, so diminish the value of 20 euros. I can add a reason, change in price for beans coming from Ecuador, for example, Ecuador, like this, and I can revalue it. Once I revalue it, I can see the information over here, all right? So previously the unit value was 3. If I now go to my lots, so I'm gonna go to my lots, I will see that my current cost or unit value is 2 and not 3 anymore, all right? So that's what I want to show you regarding the 3 possibilities. Let's now go back and conclude a little bit this talk. So what we did in general is really an improved usability. We allow you to minimize the errors. It's less heavy on operations. It goes faster, and we all know that time is money. There are mainly improvements on the barcode side, but also other ones. There are some improvements that it didn't even have the time to show. For example, you now have a QR code that allows you to scan multiple serial numbers at once. It's easier to scan once than 100 times if you have 100 serial numbers. So that's pretty cool as well. So in general, usability improvements that will make your life easier. Valuation by lot or serial number is legally required in some countries, so that will expand our market, your market as well. It also allows you a more precise valuation. And I think anyway that you asked for it, so in general, I don't have to convince you on that one. And then the continuous intercompany traceability. Before that, you could find, there was a possibility to find the traceability and see it, but not as clear as it is now. So you now have real traceability, and it's also less heavy on operations. You don't have to copy-paste anything. You can see what the products went through in Odoo 18. I think that we can definitely say that we unlocked new levels of traceability with Odoo 18. I really believe it's going to make your life easier in general if you need to do some traceability. Personally, Gabriel Ganache told me that he was convinced, so I hope you are too. And now it's some time. You have some time for your questions. I will be happy to answer them.
We are waiting a bit for the questions. Some are just coming in.
All right. Oh, I'm losing my voice. But I promise I'm going to answer your questions.
We need your voice for 10 minutes.
I'm going to do my best.
But we already have a question about stock lot status conformity in Odoo. Or do you manage non-conform stock or in quarantine for quality checks? The stock that is not good should be blocked for EMO consumption and sending to customers.
That has not really something to do with what I showed today effectively, but there are possibilities to put your stock, your lots and so on in another location. What will be important is the configuration of that location. So how you will configure it, from what location it will be a sub-location, which type of location it is and so on. So if you want a more precise answer on that one, I think it's just best to come up to me afterwards or to the booth of the inventory logistics experts, and we'll be able to help you out with that.
But it's going to be mostly performed through dedicated location?
Yeah, mostly performed to dedicated location and moving it around and making sure you cannot actually take it out of stock without knowing.
Okay. If picking operator changes the serial number when picking because the original was too hard to pick, will the new serial be expected in the receiving company?
So if you take, so the one that will be passed to the reception on the other side will be the one that you're delivering. So it has nothing to do with what was reserved at first. It will depend on what you actually send out. All right?
think so as well.
Yeah.
You said we can change the valuation manually of a lot if the price changes. Won't Odoo do it automatically based on the bill?
But that's a good question, actually. The idea here was to actually allow you to change it for a specific lot and to show you that it can be linked to anything else than a bill. Of course, the idea of the bill stays the same. So if you have a different price on the bill than the one on the purchase order, Odoo will already add valuation layers and so on. And if you then afterwards add landed cost, it will continue to work in the same way. The only thing here that's extra compared to what we already had is the fact that you can actually manually change it. I want to say without reason that's there in Odoo, with an external reason, for an external reason.
Very clear. Can we import a list of serial number from an Excel file that we will use after?
Yeah, so the import function, I didn't show it, but the import function stays the same. So that's already something that we had. You can still use that, and if it's easier, continue to work like that.
A use case here that we have, imagine that you have an element of the production, for example, milk powder in your example, which has a specific expiration date. How can you manage that in Odoo to let you know this is the wrong item and you cannot use it because it is out of date? Is there any alarm by lot?
I don't remember exactly how that one works, but yes, you have expiration dates and you have different types of dates that allow you to get the information. I just don't remember perfectly where it is exactly, so if you want to check, we can check it out. But you can see it on the lot, you get information about when it's expired. And you see that information anyway on the lot as well, but we can check that again.
I don't know if you feel like doing a demo on the spot, but we have a question here. What if we learn that the sugar was contaminated? How to identify in which lot they can be found and where it is on the supply chain customers?
So that would be if you have something with the sugar. Let's go and check.
I guess with the traceability report?
Yeah. So what I would personally do is go to the lot number. So for the sugar, no, I'm not in the lots. There you go. Now in this case, I will have to go for the. It would be the sugar. And if I check out the traceability report, I will be able to see this over here. All right. So I see that it has been used in manufacturing order 1. And once you're in manufacturing order 1, you will also be able to continue with the traceability. So there you have the ingredients and the silk shock. You have the lot number just here. You see? So you'll be able to know. And with that lot number, that's what we saw previously. You can also see who you send it to. So in this case, it would be Emily van der Walle. You would also see that you have it in the Cocoa Craft company and in the Chocodoo company. So you'll be able to follow up on all of that. Just make sure you have both companies activated so you can have the full information.
Very clear. Someone else is asking, is it possible to set an automated, I'm translating here, sequence by product to get Odoo defined consecutive serial numbers?
That's something that changed. I actually had to check that out for client as well. At least in 17, it now uses the sequences again when it does it automatically. So you saw today. Let me show you, because I actually changed it over here as well. If I go to the manufacturing order from before, what did I want to show? Yeah, you see that the sequence here is, in this case, 24/10/03, okay, and then 0002. So it's the year, the month, and the day of today, and then a sequence that follow-ups on each other. And how did we do that? It's just by going in developer mode, and then you go to the settings, technical, and here somewhere you should have the sequences there, and then you have the lots. It's not like that. If I go down, I'll find it. Where is it? Here, serial numbers. You see that I actually did it like that as well. So this years, 24, then the month, 10, day 3, and then you had 5 numbers, and it goes up. The next one will be 24, 10, 0, 3, a few zeros, and then 3. All right? So that's something that was a bit different in previous versions. At least I'm sure in 15. I'm not sure what happened, what was in 16.
Another question is, how do you link component cost to be populated from the purchase flow? I guess the connection between the purchase price of the component and the actual cost of the production itself.
Yeah, that has to do with your configuration of the product. So if you go to the product and then your product category, you need to make sure that your product category has the right costing method. Now, if you have valuation by lots, it will anyway take the price as well that you receive, in my opinion. To double check, but honestly, that's the logic that I would see. So to make sure to automatically compute your cost, FIFO or AFCO, standard price is not an option because there you would have to put it yourself on the product form.
We are reaching the end, checking the time. So in the demo, the warehouse guys had to choose the correct country.
Yeah.
Can it be made that he only gets the correct option? Sorry.
I don't think there is anything blocking. To be completely honest, if you want to block it, I would actually create different products and not even the same product. Maybe you could have cocoa beans from Ecuador and cocoa beans from the Ivory Coast. If you don't use it for the same things, then separate them totally.
And to end up, a quick tip for the audience, what is the name of the barcode scanner extension in your browser?
I don't even remember. Maybe come to me afterwards and I'll check it out for you. I don't remember, but it's a good one. I agree. I don't know who asked it, but just come and we'll check it out together.
So we're going to wrap up. Thanks again, Chloe.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.